Hi, little A, how are you?
Hi, good.
You've been off school actually, haven't you, for a couple of days? You've had a bit of
Yeah,
flu. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's a bit ironic actually, because today we're going to be learning about two things, and one of them is all about disease and that sort of stuff. So it's sort of appropriate,
disease can
really.
be caused b- that by bacteria
It can, little maid. Let me explain some of the things that can cause disease. Four things, all right, that I need you to
or
take
things.
away that cause disease. One is called a virus.
Virus. I know what a virus is. Well,
Excellent. Go
well,
on.
vampires don't exist, but virus can happen when vampires do suck your blood.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. You've taught me something today. So viruses and bacteria you've probably heard of. Fungi you might have heard of. Have you heard of fungi?
fungi. I have.
And
I have
protists.
when you were teaching.
Oh, I see. You heard me, did you, talking to other people?
Yeah.
Now, viruses are probably the simplest of all of these things, and viruses can cause a number of diseases. One disease they can cause is something called tobacco mosaic
Wait,
virus.
wait. Tobacco can be when you're vaping, can it?
Tobacco is the plant that's used to smoke. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the tobacco plant's leaves, when it's affected by this particular virus, go all sort of blotchy like that. And because they
Yeah.
become all sort blotchy in that way, they can't work as a leaf. They can't do a process called photosynthesis. They can't get any energy. It's a little bit like if somebody stopped you going to the shops to get food. You wouldn't survive very long, would you? So tobacco mosaic virus is like that in a plant. It is something that it affects a number of different plants, and that's how it works. Can you remember that?
Wait. So, so it, so if you, so like, if you, wait, what? Wait, what have you written down and said?
TMV. You can shorten it to TMV if it's easier to remember.
What does
Tobacco,
CMV stand for?
tobacco mosaic virus.
Oh,
Yeah?
yeah.
Okay, matey. So we've got tobacco mosaic virus. Say that so I can make sure that you've
Tobacco
got it.
mosaic virus.
Good boy. Right, so we've got tobacco mosaic virus, and then we've got all sorts of diseases that humans suffer from. One of them is flu, of course, isn't it? So we
Yeah,
got flu. Another one is something called COVID. Have you heard of COVID?
yeah. You
Okay.
doing it when you were teaching again.
Okay. So let's just see if you can remember those two to begin with. Um,
Flu and COVID.
what are the two that viruses cause?
They cause, they cause flu and
Tobacco,
tobacco, um, to,
mosaic virus. Can you say that?
tobacco mosaic virus.
Okay. So, tobacco mosaic virus and the flu would be two examples of the way of diseases that are caused by viruses. Bacteria can do all sorts of horrible things. One is they can cause salmonella. Now, salmonella is another long word, and this is like food poisoning, yeah? So what you
Yeah,
had
food.
pretty much, although yours wasn't food poisoning, but similar symptoms, yeah? So if you eat some chicken that you've not, put in the fridge and maybe it's gone a little
So,
bit
so
nasty,
you haven't froze it up and you haven't cooked it.
absolutely, and it's gone a bit nasty, then you're in danger of getting salmonella. So salmonella is something that can be caused by bacteria. All right.
All right.
Fungi can cause a number of different things. One of them is athlete's foot.
Ew. It's
Now,
when an athlete's foot is all wet and something.
well, you're right. If you very often the spores of the fungi are found in water, in changing rooms that aren't very clean. I once got athlete's foot from a student squash court changing room. It's not very nice. And
Ew.
you have to clean between your toes really, really well and dry them really, really well so you don't get
Ew.
athlete's foot or you get a horrible white sort of fungus which really itches. So yeah, not something nice at all, but not as
Um,
bad
uh,
as this thing, which is rose black spot. Now, guess which plant
a,
rose black spot affects?
a rose.
Very good. And guess what it does to the rose's leaves?
It breaks the leaves.
It gives them black spots, surprisingly enough. So rose black spot, um,
Yeah, I saw sometimes on my way to school I see some black spots on leaves.
do you really? Well, maybe that's what it is. I don't know how common it is, but it does exactly the same thing as that tobacco mosaic virus. It stops the plant photosynthesizing. So it can't get energy from the sun because it's got these big black spots instead of nice green leaves, you see. So we've got athlete's foot and we've got rose black spot. They're the two fungal ones. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, matey. Now, the last one, protists, are things like protists look a little bit like this. They've just got one cell. Okay, they've got the
They
nucleus and
look biconcave.
no, they're not biconcave. They're pretty flat, really, are protists, but it depends on the particular protist. But one of the diseases you know about, because you've had this, my man, and it's that, all right? Malaria.
Malaria.
That's malaria. Can you say malaria?
Malaria.
Say
The
malaria.
the A looks a bit like a U because you haven't completed the top.
Okay, mate, let me do that. Is that better?
Yeah,
Okay, so malaria. Can you say malaria?
malaria.
Very good. Now you've had malaria and it stays in your system, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And malaria is caused by a little mosquito that buzzes around and it carries with it um,
It
something
it
called,
it puts something in your it puts something and then drinks your blood and then
it
something is
does.
itchy.
That's right. It drinks your blood, and in doing that, the protist itself, Plasmodium vivax, gets passed into your blood. And when it's passed into your blood, of course, it's there, and you know that's not good news for you because you've got malaria. And malaria kills a lot of people around the world, more people than, for example, some of the virus diseases like
Wait, did it
AIDS.
kill 10 godzillion people?
Not quite that many, but quite a lot nevertheless. All right, let's see how we did on that. Now, I'm not in the habit of testing you in these. It's about you learning it, but I'm just curious. Can you remember the four ways in which you can get disease? What are the four sort of pathogens, as they're called?
Pathogens?
Yeah, they're all pathogens, those four things.
You can get athlete's foot.
You can, but that's an example of one of the pathogens. What
Uh,
are the four pathogens? Can you
v-
remember?
virus.
Oh, you good boy. What else?
Um, I think it's the tobacco thing.
That's from virus, yes. I'll give you a clue, begins with B.
B.
B-A.
Flu. I know one. Flu.
No, 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 matey. Go with this word. B-A.
B-A. Bacteria.
Bacteria. That's right. And another one was begins with F.
Uh, athlete's foot. No.
Fungi. You're right.
Fungi.
And the last one began with P. Can you remember?
P.
Protists. So
Protists.
they're the four. Viruses, what were some of the viral infections that you can get?
Tobacco thing again.
Tobacco mosaic virus. And the other one, can you remember? In humans, what do we get?
Um, flu.
Very good. Bacterial things. we get something from bad chicken. What's that called? Oh,
Food
hold on.
poisoning.
Oh, there's a little bit of flu. Um,
Wait,
Food poisoning. It begins with S. Can you remember the name of it?
salmonella or something?
Close. Salmonella. Excellent. Fungi is what you said a minute ago. It's the stuff between your toes. What's that?
Athlete's foot.
Athlete's foot. And what in plants? Especially in
Rose
roses.
black spot.
Very good. Rose black spot. And finally, protists can cause what?
Protists can cause um ah that thing, that mosquito bite thing.
It begins with MAL.
MAL.
Mal
Molderella.
malaria.
Malaria.
Malaria. Well done, mate. Now, we can try and keep these things out in many ways. For example, the mosquito that carries the protist that causes malaria, we can keep
Yeah.
out with
They
malaria nets.
they
So we
also
have
do
big nets.
something to keep the blood open so they can keep drinking.
They do that. That's absolutely right. We spoke about that, didn't we? But
Yeah.
you can put nets up and that stops the malaria parasite getting to you because it stops the the Anopheles mosquito. It stops the mosquito
Wait,
coming towards you.
how can you get a net if a mosquito is going to suck your blood?
Well, where your bed is, if you've got a bed like this, then you just simply hang a net over it, over the top of your bed, and that keeps the mosquitoes out. So that's one way of doing it. It's actually more effective than you might think, you know. Okay, we can
Yeah,
also,
but sometimes you can make rope nets and they can come in because of the squares.
yeah, but we're talking a very fine net. Anyway, listen to me now. Inside your body or on your body, you've got various ways in which you protect yourself. You've got, for example, hairs at the entrance to your nose, and you've got things like that. Mucus, you know, that stops things
Mucus.
coming in. Mucus, it's like snot. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.